你好，我是沈玲，欢迎收看这一期的《天下纵横谈》。很多人呢，可能很向往着这个演艺事业到底是怎么样的呢？有些人呢，一头栽入以后呢，就是十几20年呐。在今天的《天下纵横谈》当中，我们非常荣幸邀请到了 Tremendous PR 的 Jeremiah 要来跟我们一起讨论一下，他是怎么样一头栽入这个行业，可是仍然是乐此不疲的。Hi Jeremiah.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How about you? So excited to see you.
Thanks for
Tremendous PR. Tremendous. How did you come up with that name?
Well, it was actually really easy. I wanted to try to find a name that represents who we are as Asians and Asian Americans, especially in entertainment and media. So what better qualifier than us being such a tremendous community, right? So
Exactly.
Our mission is to uplift who we are as people, as community. So I think we're tremendous, and that's what we represent.
And it's very easy to remember and resembles of how we are as Asian Americans. I really love that name. For the first time I heard that name, I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I need to find out about Tremendous PR. And I found you. I'm so glad. Tremendous PR was launched in March 2020. It was kind of right before the pandemic, right? Yeah. Until now, almost the end of 2021. So what are some valuable lessons from then until now or until in the future that you would like to share?
Well, it's interesting because when you're planning a business and when you're launching it, you have all of these pieces of strategy and all these goals that you want to achieve. And then obviously, whatever you plan doesn't always come to fruition in the way that you expect. So when we launched in March, 2 weeks later, all the movie studios closed. And I was like, well, what a time to launch a company whose primary clients are movie studios. So it was an interesting challenge. And for me, I think I learned a new way of being resilient, honestly, and a new way of believing in something that you set off to do, because you couldn't prepare for something like this. Like, nobody wanted to. So we definitely had to shift gears. We definitely had to shift strategy, at least for that duration of that part of the pandemic. And so, but we wanted to keep the core of what Tremendous was all about, is to uplift the Asian American community. So we used our expertise, and we helped to launch a program called Unapologetically Asian. And we supported the Stop Asian Hate initiatives, as well as all the racism is a virus things out there, to make sure that we as a people are respected and valued. And then when the time came to communicate that we were respected and valued in movies, then we were ready. But at least we were there doing what we needed to do for us at that time.
I think every little step counts, as how Asian always think. We really build up our life experiences to build a better tomorrow, even though we're not as vocal, but we're still doing things as what we're doing right now. You, for 15 years, oh my God.
I'm old.
No. For 15 years, I really have to remind people, 15 is actually a long time. 15 years expertise of film producer and marketing executive. What is the main drive for you to keep on going for 15 years? And then on top of that, you launch your own company.
Yeah. I love entertainment. I mean, I live and breathe it. I think I would be boring, or I would be bored in a different industry, honestly. Like, I just love movies. I love all things surrounding it. And for me, I always felt underrepresented in TV and media and film. So I always wanted to work within. I started my career at movie studios like Disney and Warner Brothers. And so I wanted to work from within to make sure that we're changing the way we are seen and valued at the core of entertainment, and whoever makes these like green lighting decisions. And so, that's why eventually then wanted to start my own company, Tremendous, because I wanted to be the one making those decisions on our behalf versus I don't want to say blindly following, but following a strategy that I may or may not agree with because I just so happen to work, under a particular boss or leader or whatnot. So I wanted to be that one to say like, no, that is incorrect. That's not how you represent us. And this is how you do it. So I think starting my own company gave me that freedom to do so.
Yes, I do love your professionalism, and I do love the power of you saying yes or no. Because honestly, when we are the employees, so-called in some companies, even though we do have our voice, but we do not have a final say. Only when you are the real boss of your own company, then you do have the final say. And since you have the experiences and professionalism, you know what is right or wrong and how to represent the people with color the most.
I think that's a challenge, and that's also it's a good and a bad thing, right? Because then you have the power to say yes or no to some projects. But that also, if you say no, then you don't get paid, but then you don't get paid because of your values. You know what I mean? So
true. Yeah, that can be a very tough part. But I think with your 15 years, you will be able to juggle that very fine. You will be able to satisfy your client from your company at the same time. You will still represent and make sure the voices are being heard and the representation is actually going the right route. That's what I believe. You have won numerous Shorty awards, the honorary of best social media, in-game videos, and all these. How much work, like how much dedication and work that you put into winning all those awards?
A lot. I mean,
right? So, yeah.
I mean, I won those awards when I was leading global marketing campaigns for Warner Brothers. And so obviously, like people, when people see my job and the work that I do, I think they only really see the glitz and the glamour of things. But I always say that working in entertainment is, let's say, like 5% glitz and glamour and 90% sweat and anxiety. Like people don't see the people don't see the sleepless nights, and people don't see the actual planning and the boring parts of it. And I think that is to an exponential level when you have your own company, because one moment on my social, I could be at a movie premiere, but people don't see the work that is put in at like 3 or 4 a.m. when I'm not sleeping and worrying about like, oh, what's next? What can I do next? Like, what do I do here? Putting all those puzzle pieces together, owning your company is the challenge, but I think it's also pretty fun. I don't know. That's just me.
All those 18 hours working days with your Korean fried chicken. Right? No one really sees that, but people do see the glamour part of it. However, just seeing the glamour part of it is just as important of remembering it. As long as people do remember that little glamorous part, all the work you have done previously for that little part is all worth it. I think that's just how Asian are. I don't know.
I agree. I like to think that our work is impactful. And we're not just doing it because we're doing it and because it's work. But I like to think that with every project and every campaign and every client that we bring in and every person that we encounter makes some sort of impact, because ultimately that's why we exist, is to again help people see the value of our Asian American communities and the value of our faces on movie screens and TV screens all over the world.
How true Asian Americans are being represented in the film industry or on TV or any screenings, right? So how would you define Asian American, or how would you define, in your own words, people of color?
How would I define? Gosh, I don't know. I mean, we could talk for like hours and days about
No,
this.
I'm sorry. You have to shorten your answer to only a minute. Okay, how about this? What do you think that's the true value for Asian Americans on screen?
I think it's our collective experiences. Honestly, it's our diverse diaspora that helps bring a lot more multi-layered characters on screen and a lot more, I feel a lot more interesting stories, honestly. Like, I think it's tough because a lot of industries and a lot of people see Asian Americans as like one big group of people. But we're multiple, we're all sorts of folks, we have all sorts of different experiences. We're from different parts of the world, we're from different parts of Asia, we speak different languages, even Filipinos. Filipinos
so
have
many dialects.
Multiple dialects, and like 7,100, I don't even know how many at this point, so over 7,000 different islands. And we're so nuanced that I think that's the true value of seeing who we are, is that you get more exposure to different kinds of people and different kinds of stories, which I think is incredibly interesting.
For everyone else who are not, or even for people who are Asian, who grew up here, that was born here, that was like probably 4th, 5th, or even 10th generation, to open up their eyes for them to really see there's actually many different layers of Asian Americans or Asians in general. I think that's a great eye opener. That's awesome. Yeah. At the end, I would like to know if there's one word, you can only pick one word or one sentence to share with all Asian Americans. Which one would it be and why?
I'm gonna say value. One of my biggest lesson is to know your worth and know what your work is valued at, and know that what you're offered is not essentially what you are worth. So I would say fight for your value and don't accept any less.
Oh my God, I love that. Jeremiah, I'm seriously having goosebumps because to me, honestly, my parents are very, very first generation immigrants. They don't even speak English that much. What I was taught in my family is you nod and say, okay. People tell you what to do and you do it because you need to try to blend into this society. However, I think the newer and younger generation who, even for you work for 15 years, now you know what's our true value, what's our worth, and we need to be vocal about it. What is right, what is not right. We are just like everybody else that has a human right to stand out, to be who you are, to earn what you really deserve.
I agree. I mean, for me as a first generation Filipino immigrant, I think, there's a fine balance between respecting where our parents and where our culture came from, but also blending what we are learning and blending the increased volume of our community. I don't think that we can progress without being loud is the thing. So we need to be as loud as possible.
So we can be heard.
So we can be heard. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. I wish 2022 is going to be a tremendous year for Tremendous in You. Thank you again. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.